Varmt välkomna hit till detta premiärsamtal. A warm welcome to this pre-performance talk. We will have it in English, of course, because everyone here is... No one is English, but everyone will speak English, I hope. Okay. Varmt välkomna hit till detta premiärsamtal inför kvällens premiär på Trinity. A warm welcome to this pre-performance talk. We will have it in English because we have a very international group of guests here. I would like to introduce to you all the creators of this evening. Lukáš Timulak, Brigitte Martin, and Angelin Preljocaj, and the artistic director of the Royal Swedish Ballet, Nicolas Le Riche. I think we should give them all some applause. Yes, Angelin, you have made the piece called Annonciation that will begin this evening.
Yes.
Yes, and Brigitte, you are assistant to Jiří Kylián.
Yes,
and
that's correct.
He has made Wings of Wax that will be at the end of the evening. And Lukáš Timulak, you have made a completely new creation for the ballet.
New creation.
Yeah. So I think I will start with you, Angelin, because your piece, Annonciation, it was actually created almost 20 years ago, in 1995 or something. So when you created the piece, could you understand that this would be a piece that should be on the repertory, a classic?
No, not especially. I think... if ça marche pas le micro. Non.
Apparemment. Unfortunately, when I did the piece...
I think it works well, yes.
No, when I did the piece, I did the best piece I can do at this moment. I was not thinking if it will be a good piece or not, or if it... Or if this will be a mistake. My principal preoccupation when I work is to be involved very deeply on the moment with the dancer and trying to do the best piece possible.
Why do you think...
And without thinking of the future. If you start thinking of the future, you're dead.
Yeah. but do you have any idea why it has been such a popular piece?
Oh, this I don't know. Maybe the theme of Annonciation is kind of universal, but not completely universal, because there is a different religion also then. But the iconography is very rich about Annonciation. And I was thinking when I worked on the piece, I was thinking that if you take all the painting of Annonciation, you can do a kind of comics, you know, a bande dessinée of this moment of the Bible, of the Evangile. And according to that, I started to work really, trying to do a kind of compilation of different moments of this strange moment.
Yeah. Lukáš, you have made a new piece here, and you have been in Stockholm for quite a long time now.
Yes, since September 19th.
Yes. You have been, I mean, you work all over the world, but you have been in Sweden before, but in Gothenburg.
That's correct.
Yes. So this is your first...
in Stockholm, it is first time to create a piece for the company, yes.
So have you been in any way influenced by Stockholm and by the dancers here?
Well, in a way, you always get influenced by the place where you are, you know, and you try to absorb what you see or what you have in front of you and around you. Of course, you come with ideas that you bring from your own, that you try to express, and with the whole team. And as I'm sitting here, I also feel privileged to talk about the piece just from my own perspective, because I see the piece as a very collaborative process with the whole creative team, you know, who was Peter Bilak, who was a stage designer, and Tom Visser for the light design, Anne-Marie van Harten for the costumes. So I feel we joined forces
Yeah.
collaboration, and in a way, yeah, I can talk about it, express it here,
Yeah.
but it feels like, yeah, we did it all together. And in a way, for what you asked for about the influence or the inspiration, of course, it is different if you compare it, for example, to other plays in Gothenburg, for example, because this is a Royal Swedish Opera, so it has a bigger, different tradition as well. And you have to take that into account as well, you know. There's a big history behind. And you try to move on with certain way and to find interesting way to inspire the present and the future generation, but also keep in mind somehow what has been, and all the previous generation that they all have been working and have built this into what it is today.
Nicolas, you have put together this evening, and apart from Angelin and Lukáš, you have chosen a piece by Jiří Kylián, you know, the great choreographer. So, I mean, many of his pieces have been shown here, actually. I think 15 or something, I tried to count. But this Wings of Wax, why did you choose that piece?
Maybe because when I first thought about this evening, I could see many connections with great creators who could bring to life an idea. Maybe it started with the kind of an annunciation somehow, how an idea is ingrown, how an idea becomes flesh, and how an organization becomes something concrete, and how this organization could be so playful in a piece. So I can see somehow a connection beyond the talent of the choreographer, of course, which was very important. But also I could see some connections with the company, because to me it was very important that all those collaborations will be made with the dancers, and will be possible where the company is today. And this is how I thought about this evening first. But I must say, I remember the first time we talked about it with Angelin in Aix-en-Provence, in front of 2 eggs, sunny eggs. It was very simple, and I must say that to me it's a bit Christmas before Christmas, because actually it has been a long idea. We have to understand, when we start to think about a piece like that, you think in a long term, a year, 2 years, 3 years ahead. And so suddenly when it's the moment, when today is the day, it's kind of an incredible present.
Brigitte Martin, you have staged the work here with the Swedish dancers here. What's your history with this piece? Have you danced it yourself?
Yeah, it was created on me and the other dancers. In 97, the premiere was January 97. So, and it was actually the last creation I made with Jiří, so it's a special one.
Well, what would you say is what makes him such a great choreographer? Could you mention 3 things?
Well, I think he's very musical. He's a lovely person to work with. He likes to be inspired by his dancers also, and by works of arts, different mediums. He speaks from the heart. It's all about life and death and love and people.
I understand that you also have danced in Kylián's pieces, haven't you? Yes.
I have been an active member of the Netherlands Theatre from 2000 till 2010.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I even danced the Wings of Wax here in Stockholm,
Okay.
but yeah, on tour with NDT.
Okay. So you never danced together, or?
No, he was the next generation.
Okay. Okay.
I have danced several pieces by Angelin as well. What an effect!
Yeah.
So,
So I suppose you have also danced in Jiří Kylián's works, have you?
not Wings of Wax. No,
No, not Winds of Wax, but
no,
others.
but others. Yes.
Yeah. So what would you say about his special choreography?
Well, it's always about how a choreographer is meeting a dancer and how a dancer is meeting a choreographer. The alchemy which is happening in the studio is so moving when you see, when I was in the rehearsal with all of them, seeing the dancers in front and how rich the experience was from both sides, how the choreographer is watching at the dancers and how the dancers are listening to the choreographer, and how this communication is somehow so perfect, I would say, or at least reaching to be perfect. It is very moving.
Do you have anything to say about Kylián or Angelin?
About Kylián?
Yes.
I think Kylián is a very, very important choreographer, and
For you in any way, or?
for me less than for others, because I never worked with him, obviously, but as a figure, he is very important. And we can see his work really feed a lot of different other choreographers, and it's really like a tree in a certain way. He's the tronc, the principal, and the foundation. Yes, and there is a lot of branch of choreographers coming from him and doing things very different and more personal, but there is maybe a kind of substance initial from this choreographer.
And, as you said before, your piece is inspired by the Annonciation of Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
And you talked about pictures. Was that your inspiration from the beginning? Or was it more the story, the dramatic situation? Or
it's bizarre because everybody knows Annonciation, but if you seriously think about what happened at this moment, it's very bizarre quand même, no?
Yes.
Can you imagine an angel coming here? And when I worked, I was thinking, how had be this moment? What happened? And I was thinking maybe the space can't contain his body, and maybe the space is completely exploding. Yeah, and that's why the music is from Stéphane Roy, a very hard music. Sorry, people, for that. And bringing the sensation that the space is entering in a vibration, very, very powerful and almost exploding, because the angel is is omnipresent. He has a kind of ubiquity, and the work of the role of the angel was not to fly, because it's not very interesting, but to imagine that the angel can be here and suddenly here and here and here at the same moment, you know. And that's why the dance of the angel is very fast and very brief, with a very changing of direction and space, to give the sensation of the ubiquity more than the idea more traditional of flying, you know. It's like the angel appears here and suddenly he's everywhere, you know. And that's why also Mary is always looking, where is the angel, you know, in a certain...
You say he, but you have actually two female dancers.
I say he because in English angel is masculine, no? No, in French, angel is masculine.
Yeah.
That's why I say he.
Okay, but you have...
But for me, honestly, I can't imagine certain geste of the angel doing by a man.
Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful with two female dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have created a new piece, Totality in Parts.
Yes.
So, could you say something about the title? What does it mean?
What does it mean? I mean, it means a lot of things, but I can say where the inspiration comes from, maybe, or how there are different ways we approached the initial part. One part is the early 20th century avant-garde movements, you know? And another part is also the organizational principle of nature and relationship between elements and how we look at them, you know, and how they're organized by either some algorithms or by free expressions, you know. So there are different ways of looking at it, and in the whole thing it's also how an individual is not separable or from the group, you know. We focus on the inseparability sort of individual from a group behavior, or how one person has an effect on the group and the vice versa, you know, and how we are all somehow unique, but we can all coexist and be together in our all unique ways, but there are ways we can bring that force. And
I was thinking when I've seen the piece a couple of times now, how do you work with the music? Is the music ready before you start working with the dancers, or is the music sort of composed?
It's a very interesting question, because this music, for example, I have been working on, I am a big fan of Volker Bertelmann's music. His artistic name is Hauschka, and he's also here with us tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm always very inspired by his music, and I always wanted to do a work or really close collaboration. So I think this is the closest we got, because there's a part of existing music and part is extended, you know, extended. But if you think it's also part of existing music, why we chose that and how it's, sometimes it's maybe written in the stars, because today I also found out, thanks to Ann-Kristin from the opera,
Yes.
that I never paid attention to the title, you know, at one point, because it has been created, or on the title says 2/11/14, which is 2nd of November 2014. And we spoke also today with Volker, and it has been recorded in Japan on the 2nd of November 2014, where he was actually playing it live, so it was improvised. So the whole thing what you hear is actually improvisation of his.
Oh.
And so somehow maybe he already pre-recorded it for us, because today we are 2nd of November.
Yes.
But 4 years later. So sometimes those coincidences, you don't know if you look at them or you believe in those things or what.
Yeah.
But it's for sure very interesting story,
Yeah.
I think, and I was very pleased about that somehow, and Volker as well himself, and I think,
Yeah. It works very well together, the music and the dance, of course. Wings of wax. What does that mean? Maybe you can take this. Yeah.
I guess we're having a hard time here.
Yeah.
But I don't like this thing anyway. Thank you. Jiří often would come in the studio and not tell us too much about his pieces, so because he didn't want us to get too stuck in an idea. He wanted to be able to be free in the studio to let the piece go whichever way it wanted to go. But yeah, from the story of Icarus and wanting to fly very high, too close to the sun, not listening to his father, universal ideas in a way, but also the fact that, you know, Icarus falls down, you know, has this tragedy, but the rest of life goes on. and he showed us a painting and showed us a poem. Often would let us listen to the music before he started, so we had some sort of sense of where he wanted to go. But I think even Jiří himself often says that he understands his pieces better years later.
Okay. So what do you hope the audience will get or bring with them after the performance?
I hope people feel hope, because I think it's a very optimistic, even though tragic or dramatic, but there are, beautiful, the music is uplifting, and I hope you enjoy it and feel whatever story you want to bring to it. I don't think you need to want to understand. It should just come inside you.
What is your what does the audience mean to you as creators? Do you what do you want some kind of communication with the audience, or?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course you want to communicate. You want to be understood. You want to communicate. You want to touch the audience. You want to. Yes. So if you, my wish would be for them to have the, visual and emotional experience. That they go home with something that touched them on all those levels. They doesn't stay on one idea, but it goes a bit further. So hopefully open the possibility to look at themselves maybe through what you see.
Angelin, what are you looking for in a dancer? So when you look for dancers.
Alors, when I do auditions, obviously it's announced like company is looking for a dancer. But at the moment I'm in the studio with the people coming there, I'm not looking for a dancer. I'm looking for somebody who dances very well, which is for me very different, because it means that I'm looking for a personality who are able to dance very well, which is different, because if I look for a dancer, it can format, it can give an idea of what is a dancer traditionally. And that's why my feeling is really to first to see who has, because it's like on stage, I don't like when I see the beginning of the performance, somebody is coming on and I think, oh, he's a dancer. I think it's not very interesting this way. I like the idea that somebody come on stage, someone with personality, and who is this guy or who is this girl, and she start dancing and she's dancing very well, but which means it's a character, it's a personality, a sensibility in action of dancing.
Nicolas, what do you think it means for your dancers here in the company to work with choreographers such as these? I mean, what do you hope that they will get from them?
Well, first I think that working with the choreographer is the vivid of dance. How the dance is alive today, it's because of the choreographers, of the creators. And they are creating with personality who are living here and now. So it gives a better understanding on who we are now at that moment. So to me it's really about life, I would say.
Yeah. What is the next project for you after this?
For me?
Yes.
I mean, first I will go home, see my family,
have some vacation, perhaps. Yes.
And there, of course, come the meetings and different projects through the foundation that we also have with Peter.
Yes. Make, move, think. Yes.
Foundation,
Yes. So you are working.
Preparing some different ideas, and different, because we also try to not always work on stage, but sometimes it can be approached from different corners, We work also with a lot with design, also recently with architecture as well. Like last May, we also did a project in the Biennale in Venice, but it was not in a dance Biennale, but with the architecture Biennale. But we proposed a dance in the architecture, so it's sort of those ideas and those projects also demand some attention and preparation. So, yeah.
You have all been dancers, of course, from the beginning. What is most fun, to be a dancer or to be a choreographer?
You know, when I was a dancer, I was never very serious. And when I'm choreographing, I try not to be too serious either. So it's, but it's for sure wonderful to see the both perspectives. Okay. And you respect one another in many different ways that you wouldn't do when you were as a dancer towards the choreographer, or vice versa, or technician, or director, or your colleague. Yeah. So you get just a different perspective of how things work.
Yeah, I heard from you two talking before that you said that you actually still danced, Angelin.
If I still dance?
Yes.
Yes, every day I dance. I think that dance is more wide than we think. And as a dancer, all of us maybe, we have a different sensation of living. And what is life, what is moving for us is maybe a bit different. But I think dance is a language. And that's why I think it's important for us to be very aware of this sensation of language always. And because I think really the body talk, and but not in the level of the word, but in level of sensation. The body permits in a certain way to have a kind of telepathy with others. And also, that's what happened in the life when people are moving and living together. There is kind of mysterious body relation in the air, in the space, and that's why I think we are always dancing, all of us. If you see the city moving, it's a big and enormous dance of a huge company. Yeah. The Stockholm People Company is incredible, and the way they move, they pass, and there is some rule, inconscient rule in the life of the body. And voilà. Bon, je sais pas.
I think this is so inspiring hearing you talking about this. So I think I would like to go out and dance immediately. Okay, we have talked for half an hour, and time moves fast. So I thank you so much for being here, and we are so much looking forward to the performance tonight. And thank you so much, and keep dancing. Thank you.